So Matt, you and I used to sit on here every summer and say that Carlos Corberán was worth a good 6 places to West Brom. Possibly turns out that it was even more than that because last season without him, not a conspicuous success. What went wrong? 21st in the end, right?
Yeah, it was 21st. We stayed up by the skin of our teeth by 4 points. So, yeah, it was not great. I think the with the beginning with Ryan Mason, like Ryan Mason, he didn't really have a set philosophy, and I know that sounds a very kind of it's a cliched word to talk about in terms of management, but he didn't really have a style of play. There was therefore the team. I mean, mainly kept possession for possession's sake, and we only won a third of the games under his control. We conceded loads of late goals, which showed us like kind of a crisis of confidence. And basically, by Christmas, it looked like his tenure was over, and we probably should have sacked him before the Christmas. We didn't. We hung on, lost more points, and then took the completely left field choice of getting Eric Ramsey in from Minnesota in the MLS.
I
Now,
s- I remember like when you did that, thinking the problem with Ryan Mason seemed to be lack of experience. Like you say, hasn't really sort of figured out who he is yet as a manager, so he's sort of thrashing around a little bit. So you've sacked him, get somebody experienced in to come and fight the fires. No, Eric Ramsey.
I think Eric Ramsey would have been quite an interesting one if he'd had a full preseason and, importantly, had the players to play his set formation. He was a really dogmatic coach. He came in saying we're going to play 3-5-2, wing backs, low possession, low block, and counter attack. We didn't have a squad for that, and the squad build in the summer previously had been all about Mason's possession-based football. So yeah, absolutely, I totally agree with your point about the need for an experienced head. But Ramsey came in, he just tried to impose his own will on the club, which obviously you expect from new managers. But clearly, the squad had no faith in him whatsoever, and he talked a great game, but the performances on the pitch were abysmal. I mean, he is the worst West Brom manager in terms of statistics I've ever seen. And also, I think statistically, he is the worst manager we've ever had. I mean, he even managed to record our highest ever league defeat in our entire history outside of the Premier League in his 9 games in charge. So it was going wrong catastrophically, and he was trying to.
Dead
And he
on
was,
arrival.
yeah, absolutely, and he was trying to fit in players like Mikey Johnson at like left wing back. It's like, I mean, he is a forward attack. You know, he is not a wing back. So anyway, again, the club panicked again and fired him, which obviously is not great for stability. And there was lots of questions about why Ramsey was appointed. It looked like it was the chairman's decision because the sporting director kind of walked out the door pretty quickly after he was appointed. And then anyway, we turned to old hand Jimmy Morrison. Uh, his first games were not great, and he basically threw the squad under the bus when we lost to Oxford. And that can go either one of two ways. Thankfully for him, I think it was the kick up the ass the players needed, and they kind of really turned it around and fought for him. He kind of reverted to a kind of old school 4-4-2, and again looked to play to the strengths of the team. And we were a bit lucky, but at the same time, you need a bit of luck, and you kind of felt that that luck had been missing in the previous manager's kind of reign. So actually, Morrison galvanised the squad. We got some wins. We didn't lose many, and it kind of was the positive end of the season for what was actually a disastrous kind of campaign overall.
Yeah, we thought you were gone when James Morrison went in there. We were like, what? And like you say, lost his first couple and then booted off with them after Oxford. I was like, this lot are dead. They're gone. So actually finished with quite a strong set of results. He did turn it round from what was obviously a really poor situation. I'm always a little bit wary of making the caretaker manager the permanent manager. He's done the job he was there to do. Is he really your long-term man? And I guess we'll find out. Was his end to last season so strong that you basically couldn't say no, or are you a little bit scared of what's to come here?
I think that I think he, if we hadn't have given him the position, then there would always be that what if. And also because he is a club legend, he's been part of the coaching staff for since he's retired. I think that was a big part of that, the choice to keep him on. I think also the key points were, and this is where you talked about experience a moment ago. They got in Matt Gill as a very experienced kind of second-hand, voice in the dressing room and in that leadership. And now this summer they've kind of cleared out the entire coaching staff, apart from Boaz Myhill, inexplicably, who is still our goalkeeping coach. But everyone else is new. So we got McMahon from who played with him at Middlesbrough. Um, and we've got a guy from Celtic as well. So again, he's changed that kind of core coaching outlook, and I think the way that we're set up at the moment is it's still kind of a 4-4-2, but it's a 4-4-2 diamond, so very narrow in midfield with a kind of overlapping left and right like wing backs essentially. So I mean, hopefully it works. And given what we achieved at the end of last season, I think we couldn't not give him the job, or at least give him the chance at it. Because if we've been looking for young coaches who are hungry to kind of cut their teeth at the game, we have this guy in house, and why waste 6 weeks trying to find someone else?
Yeah, I guess it would put a new person, another, if it was somebody else, that person would be under pressure sort of needlessly straight away, right? Because it's like, well, we should have just kept James.
I mean, and he has that goodwill, and he has the goodwill of the management of the club, and also the players and the fans as well.
So I'm looking at the players that have come in. There's been sort of little bits of business, and I gather you've sort of missed out on one of your key targets who's gone to Wrexham. Nolan Galvez, the right back from Rodez, is one of the players that we had a signing piece written up thinking he was coming to QPR. So if you do need 2,000 words on Nolan Galvez, then let me know and I'll send it over. But he's interesting. He's quite attacking. Barney Stewart from Falkirk. It's sort of middling incomings so far for a team that presumably needs quite major surgery. What do you make of the activity ins and outs so far?
I mean, 9 players have left the club since the end of last season, including the loan players. So you've got some very experienced players like Josh Madger, Jed Wallace. All of them have now gone on to pastures new, and I think that was good because the club needed a refresh and also to reduce the wage bill. But at the moment, we've
Daryl DK's explosive Achilles. We finally lost faith there as well. I see.
yeah, absolutely. And there was some humming and hawing at the end of last season about whether he should get a pay-as-you-play deal or another year, but he's gone back to the MLS, which is probably best suited for. So we brought in 7 players so far. One of them is a backup goalkeeper, which is Matt Ingram from Oxford. He's basically not going to play. We've signed a guy called Carter Pennington from Liverpool, again, also explicitly as a one for the future. So really, you've only got 5 players who are going to be kind of in and about the squad. I mean, we re-signed Max O'Leary in goal and shifted Josh Griffiths to Stoke. I feel really sorry for Josh Griffiths. Like, he's one of the kind of the youngsters who's been at the club forever and a day. Showed lots of potential, but last season just the confidence went out of him, and basically almost every shot against him went in the back of the net, which is not sustainable really. Novan Galvez is really interesting, but he was the kind of the backup to Danny Imrie, who we wanted from Wrexham. Wrexham blew us out of the water, spent 5 million quid. They're offering him 30 grand a week. With our new model, our previous financial issues just cannot do that. Galvez looks like a good attacking right defender. Defensively, not so sure, but at least but given how Morrison wants us to play, I think Galvez actually could fit that system really nicely. We signed Connor Townsend as a backup left back to Callum Styles. I mean, again, Townsend is not going to play very many games, but again, good bit of experienced players. Then the rest of the players we've signed kind of look like part of a kind of a buy low, sell high model. So Jimmy J Morgan from Chelsea, who had a really good loan at Peterborough last season, in pre-season has looked fantastic. Few assists, fewer goals. Barney Stewart again looks like a really interesting player. I mean, he was playing for Stirling University's team 2 years ago. Went through Falkirk at in the Scottish Premier League, and obviously now with us. And he looks like a decent player as well. So we still need. I think we need some experience in the team to replace the old heads that have left. I mean, we're supposedly in the process right now of signing a Norwegian guy called Felix Hornmeyer from Brann, who looks like a really good ball-playing midfielder. We need an experienced striker, again, to replace some of the people gone out the door. We've been linked with Cameron Archer all summer, but again, there's some wrangling about how much it's going to be and what have you. And then we really need probably another centre mid, another right wing, another right back, and maybe a winger or two. Even though we don't play with wingers, but we need some kind of attacking width players again to replace people like Carl and Grant who've gone out the door as well. So we're nowhere near finished, and there's obviously a few weeks to go before the season starts, but we're looking okay.
Are
But
are there enough goals in this team, do you think? I mean, DK was very rarely fit, but is a big centre forward where on the occasions that he is upright and facing front. Karlan Grant is a bit of a basic bitch as well, but again is an experienced centre forward at this level. Josh Madger has scored goals for you. They've all gone. And like you say, the kid from Chelsea's come in, Barney Stewart's come in. Is there enough goals in this West Brom team to lift you up the table?
Arno Hegebo last season showed some promise, and I think he got 10 league goals, and I think it was 12 in total. Uh, I think if we play to his strengths, then maybe he could be that kind of 14, 15 goal a season striker. I mean, if you look at the championship, very few strikers score more than 15 goals. So again, it's about how you distribute those goals across the team. Obviously, Mikey Johnson was injured for the best part of 3 or 4 months at the end of last season. So again, he will be useful coming back into the team. But yeah, I think we really miss someone else. And I think if they can get a Cameron Archer type player, then that would be useful. And maybe a midfielder who can contribute because Diakite, Malumbi, and Mowat are all very defensive players and do not score enough goals, don't create enough goals either. So yeah, we definitely need some help there, which is the concern. However, in pre-season, we have actually scored a bucket load of goals.
Oh, fair.
So, uh, but we've only played League One and League Two opposition. So
No, big. I think last year when you were losing to Lincoln and Blackpool in pre-season, so it's got to be preferable to that, right?
yeah, I mean, we played Sheffield Wednesday, beat them 3-0. We played Bromley, beat them 4-1. We played Shrewsbury, beat them 4-1, and we beat Peterborough 2-0. So there are goals. There are goals there anyway.
Okay, so get the big question here. I mean, Matt Ingram as well, who you probably won't have clocked, was the QPR goalkeeper when we lost 7-1 at the Hawthorns under Steve McLaren. I think that basically ended his QPR career. So I'm surprised with his PTSD after that. He's willing to go within 1,000 yards of the place, but I guess like you say, he's not going to play, is he? So, where are West Brom going to finish this year? Are you confident that you've got enough to not be in another relegation scrap? Is it back to sort of mid-table? How optimistic are you?
The season's all about consolidation. Like, I mean, we cannot finish 21st again. At least for a team with our aspirations and our ownership's kind of vision for the future. However, I'd be very, very happy with a season of mid-table obscurity. Like we just need to create that bit of stability, maybe gel these younger players into a championship playing team, and if we get lucky, then maybe for a push for obviously the extended playoffs. But I would not be surprised if West Brom end somewhere between 10th and about 14th this season.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that's going to be really difficult to call in our preview because, as you say, there's still so much business it seems to be done with this team. We're not going to know what it looks like until the end of September, which is when we face West Brom for the first time. We are at the Hawthorns on Saturday, the 12th of September, and we will catch up with Matt in advance of that game to find out how the rest of this transfer window goes for James Morrison and West Brom. Sounds like it's going to be a busy one. Matt, for now, thanks as always for your time and your input, and very best of luck for the season, apart from on the two occasions that you know all about.
Thanks for having me on. I always enjoy discussing West Brom, but yeah, obviously, may the best team win when we face each other.
Nice one, Matt. See you in September.
Yeah, no worries.